Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, classic slash non-classic. This is episode number 912 and Doubleshot number 106. I got two Star Wars trades. First up, it is Star Wars volume. I believe this is volume number. Look at the number here. 8. Mutiny on Cala. This is just an okay storyline. Yeah, it's just characters hang out at Rebel headquarters. Of course, they're looking for a base. This is still well before they found Hoth. Yes, this is something that's quite weird about this particular series. Now they had in the toward the end of basically Jason Aaron's run, they had it where the character Selena, who was a new character for this particular series, she met up with Lando. Now this is before that the characters met up with Lando, so I have a question though, Gillian. When in the world are you going to get to the stuff that leads into Empire Strikes Back? Who the heck knows? This storyline was just okay, not much to write home about. Still has the awful artwork from Sara LaRocca. I really like this quote. So, Gillian and LaRocca have pulled our favorite characters into one hell of a caper. Yeah, this was bizarre. Like, taking an Imperial officer and just having some shapeshifter. They break out of jail, have him impersonating for a little bit, and just again to some computer thing. Yeah, the most interesting thing about this thing was the ending, revealing that their new ally, the Queen they met in the previous arc, is in fact an agent for Darth Vader. With this character is actually from Karen Gillian's Darth Vader series. That was the only thing I found interesting about this whole thing, because this storyline I found to be kind of boring. Yeah, I was bored reading this thing. And that's something for Karen Gillian for this storyline. It's just boring. Yeah, to me, like, nothing much happens in here. For something that for a storyline that was roughly 6 issues, not much happens. Not to the end. And of course, we still have to deal with Sara LaRocca's awful artwork. Yes, this guy sucks at drawing faces in here. In other books, he's perfectly fine. In here, it looks awful. Look, this apparently is supposed to be Princess Leia. That is not a good face. Like, if I'm reading Star Wars, I want to see good artwork. Here, we have awful artwork. I mean, the way he draws aliens, they look really good. I like he draws aliens, the backgrounds. But when he draws humans, it looks awful. It looks like a piece of garbage. I don't know why Marvel kept him on for so long. He's probably the one artist. I just don't care. Like, why in the world they keep this guy on for 30 issues? Yeah, he finally left the next arc. Yeah, after issue 54, you finally have him leave, and then you have a slightly better artist. The face drawn a little bit better, but the artwork's got a little bit downgrade. Yeah, it's actually a step down from what happened before, especially as the last arc did with. It was a minor follow-up to the events of Rogue One. We get this book roughly an 8 out of 10. It's a major step down from the last arc. Like, oh gosh, yes, it was a major step down. Because this storyline was boring. Yes. It is something, though, that when it comes to Star Wars, all the spin-off books are doing really well. I mean, Poe Dameron was fantastic until it ended. Same thing with Vader. Fantastic comic book until it ended. As of right now, the only good series right now for Star Wars is Dr. Aphra. That's a pretty decent series. This is not very good. I mean, I kind of like its first 2 stories done so far. Those are actually really good. Like, the storyline came like before this, and that was really good. I really enjoyed that. This is not very good. Just an adventure to Admiral Abar's home planet. Okay? Yeah, there's like no new characters in here. There's nothing interesting about this storyline except for the ending. That's the only thing I find interesting about it. Oh, one thing that's really weird though. You know, it's been 2 years since the last crossover for Star Wars. Yeah, the last one was Screaming Citadel. And here's the thing. With that particular crossover, that happened 2 years ago, and that spanned over the course of like a couple months. My guess is the reason why they haven't done another one, and this is my personal theory on the matter. I think because that particular crossover was not a good seller. Yes, and probably because a lot of people probably thought this crossover was not very good. Not as good as the previous crossover with Vader down. That's my personal theory, anyways. Or that another theory is that Karen Gillan just doesn't want to do another crossover. I mean, he's had a hand in writing the last two, despite the fact the one shot for this one, Screaming Citadel, that was done by, of all people, him. That goes out tomorrow. We'll talk about that. Anyways, yes. That's the if short of it when it comes to this particular arc. Okay, moving on to the adaptation of Star Wars The Last Jedi. Yep, this was a 6-issue miniseries. And a lot of people tell me wonder though, why in the world there are still adaptations of movies? Because of good sellers. Force Awakens was actually a good adaptation. This is actually slightly better than the movie. This is written by Gary Whitta and artwork by Michael Walsh and Josh Nixon, who does co-drawing the issue 6. Each cover is done with different artists. Mike Del Mundo does issue 1. Koma Samara does issue 2. Phil Noto does issue 3. Rosa does issue 4. Pablo Rivera does issue 5. And the last issue is by Mahad Uster and Frank DeMattia. Yeah. They say in here the hit blockbuster Star Wars Episode 8 The Last Jedi. Here's the thing. A lot of people hated this movie. Yes. I kind of felt this movie was disappointment. Though in the case of the novel adaptation of the film was actually a much improvement. Yeah, it actually added stuff to the canon that made sense. Like having a funeral for Han Solo, which is not in this miniseries. Because according to Rian Johnson, he did not want to do a funeral at all, despite the fact it was necessary because Han Solo just died. Yep. And mostly this book does follow the main movie. Does follow the movie pretty well. There's a couple minor cuts here and there to some additions. Yeah, there's also a scene that kind of expands upon the communication between where you have Poe, Finn, and Rose, almost C-3PO, contacting Maz Kanata. Because in the film, you only see her for an hologram projection. And here you see the other side of the conversation, which is actually quite nice for this particular thing. Most of the dialogue is somewhat the same. Some of the stuff in here is a bit rushed. Especially for a 6-issue miniseries. Even though, yes, they kept a lot of stuff from the film, which I do appreciate that. And the artwork in here is actually done really well. I would say my favorite cover of this whole thing is one done by Phil Noto. Because here's the cover that they have. This is on the back here. That's actually from the actual third cover. Yeah. Because there were problems with the film. Oh, yes, there were problems. I did see the film. And I was disappointed with the film. It's not as awesome as a lot of people probably thought it was. Yes, I'm going to give this one adaptation-wise roughly a 9 out of 10. It's okay. It's a good adaptation. Now, the problems people have with this particular film, oh boy. Okay, one of my personal problems with the film was the fact that, okay, we have this code breaker, we're going to this casino. Okay, maybe this would be a good film to bring in Lando Calrissian. Nope, we have this random guy who appears for one scene, and he's never up again. Just an excuse to bring in Benicio del Toro, who, by the way, is actually really good. He's a good character. In this comic, they actually cut out the scene of him asking Rose for her little medallion that around her neck as a deposit. Yeah, they cut that out here, which I thought that was a little bizarre. Mostly everything related to Finn, all his development from the film is pretty much all in here. But I do have the hilarious bit when he falls on bed, when he gets out of that stasis tube he's been in since the last film. Mm-hmm. And mostly it's pretty much the same. And I know for a fact that Mark Hamill, the guy who played Luke Skywalker, he was not a fan of this film at all. He hated this film. Like, he didn't like the direction, the way this film was going. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was odd, though, that in the last film, we had the death of Han Solo. In this film, we had the death of Luke Skywalker. In the case of Han Solo, that's been hinted at since the 80s. Yeah, because from a story I heard, that Harrison Ford was getting kind of tired of playing Han Solo. Yeah, because he had played him at this point for 3 movies, and he really wanted Lucas to kill him off in the third film, but they made him Princess Leia's love interest. Okay, that was fine. So basically, that was something he wanted to do, and the reason why he came back for Force Awakens because he came back for the fans. When he came back for Blade Runner, that was when he actually wanted to come back for sequel 4. Even in this one, he's actually referenced, which I gotta appreciate that. And there is a hint in this particular film. There's this little dice that shows up in here, which actually opened last film as well. The only reason why this dice is here is to set up the Han Solo film, which came out just last year. Which, here's the thing about that particular film. They released it at a very terrible time. They released it in the month of May last year. Roughly 5 months after this film came out. And you know one of the stupidest things I heard about this particular film, or the stupid reaction I heard? Yeah, there was this idiot thing, these idiot fans, who, from what I heard, apparently are fans of the Expanded Universe. They apparently didn't like this film very much, so they launched a fan campaign to remove this film from the Star Wars canon. Yeah, I thought this was really stupid when I first heard about this a couple years ago. And I still think this is stupid. As far as I know, there's been no traction on this at all. And nothing has come of it. That thing with fan campaigns, nothing comes of it at all. That's just kind of the weird thing about this particular film. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. The artwork is actually pretty good for this adaptation. Mostly put, changes they made are minor. And doesn't hurt the story. And like the film, it doesn't have this little editorial note in here. Read the Captain Phasma miniseries by Kelly Thompson. Yeah, that's not in here at all. Heck, the film didn't explain like how in the world that Captain Phasma survived the destruction of Starkiller Base. Which the only way to understand that is to read the Captain Phasma series, which in my opinion was the last issue was rushed. In the case of this is actually it's an okay adaptation of the film. And in some ways, it's a little bit better. Of course, this particular film, I thought this was really stupid on the part of people to do. Like, the character Rose, because people didn't like this character at all. So, people start harassing her on Twitter. All because they didn't like her character. That's the only reason why, which in my opinion was quite stupid. At least the guy who plays Finn, at least he didn't suffer through that. Oscar Isaac, the guy who plays Poe Dameron, he never suffered, like, none of the other ones did. Of course, I've heard also that, and of course, the dumb revelation, of course, I agree with this revelation, this was stupid. I mean, what the heck was Rian Johnson thinking when it comes to revelation about who Rey's parents were? Apparently, there are a couple of alcoholics who sold her off to pay off a debt? Seriously? Yeah. Even I agree that was stupid. Or her Rose kissing Finn, like that completely out of nowhere. There's been no hint the whole film that she's been shown that she's attracted to Finn at all. That's kind of the dumb thing. It's like a lot of the stuff for this film comes completely out of nowhere and is never explained. Heck, in this adaptation is explained at all. Like, oh, is there any hints to the fact that, well, one thing they do add in here, which I do appreciate them adding this. They don't show exactly when they had their ship land on Canto Bright. Nope. They didn't show it, but they kind of show a scene where they kind of get there. And though when they show the scene, it's very rushed in here. It's very rushed. Yeah. Oh, and also the code breaker they were sent to find. Yeah, for some reason they cut out his line that he says in the film. It's like, who was that? And he's never seen it again. He's never even brought up again. Yeah. Of course, aside from the fact Lando Calrissian should have been in this film, my only disappointment with this film was the fact Luke Skywalker died. There was no reason to have him die. At all. Also, the revelation of how Kylo Ren basically came the way he was, that was kind of weird. I'm like, Okay, so you kind of explain what was happening with the flashback from the last film. Yeah, I wonder what the heck was up with that. Like, what the heck happened caused this to happen? And the explanation was quite stupid because the explanation is that apparently Luke sensed that he might be turned to the dark side, and the way it's shown in the film looked like he was about to kill him, and the way it's shown looks like that Kylo Ren was actually right to try to kill Luke Skywalker in self-defense. Yes. Though I do agree with the way he was written in the film, like, man, Kylo Ren was kind of dumb, and I'm also glad they cut out that stupid scene in the film. Like, they cut out this dialogue in the film where you had Kylo Ren a couple times they showed his little vision thing. Yeah, the explanation for this is quite stupid. Where in the film they had his a couple times he's frequently appearing without his shirt on. Yeah, that led to speculation that Kylo Ren had a thing for Rey. This was never developed upon at all. Nope. Oh, and also, him killing Snoke. The reason why he killed him, in the case of what happened with Han Solo, at least he had a motivation for killing Han Solo. In the case of killing Snoke, there was really no reason why he killed him, and he killed him by slicing him in half. Oh yeah, and that was one other thing I didn't like about the film. The fact that Snoke was never explained. Yes, from what I heard, and I do agree, Abrams gonna have a lot of cleaning up to do when it comes to episode 9. Yeah. He's gonna have to clean up Rian Johnson's mess. Oh yeah, and also I heard that he was going to direct a follow-up trilogy to this nonsense. Excuse me. Now I'm all for changing directors for the Star Wars films. That's perfectly fine. That's not the problem here. The problem is Rian Johnson clearly did not know the Star Wars material at all, and basically made this stuff up. Matter of fact, he actually wrote the script for this film. Yes, he wrote the script because it's shown in the credits that he wrote the script. I did not know he wrote the script. I only had heard that he was announced as director, and I didn't hear much about the announcements that came to this particular film when the film was coming out a couple years ago. Like, I didn't know he wrote the script until I saw the movie. Yes. Of course, it has been a little over a year since this film came out, like roughly like 14 months. Yep, 14 months this film came out, and it's just not very good. At least the posters are still really good, and this adaptation actually is slightly better than the film. And it does cut out some dialogue. One line of dialogue I did not want to cut out. In the case of Rose dialogue, they actually trimmed her dialogue down a bit that it was, and that was actually a bit longer in the film. And people were giving quotes saying that her dialogue was similar to that of the prequels. Yes, seriously. That's basically what it was. Yeah. Not much else to say. It's just a good adaptation, but I'm gonna give her a 9 out of 10. I could go with 9.5 like I did with other adaptations, but it's actually, I mean, anybody who reads this and who has seen the film can tell that this adaptation is better than the actual film itself. It actually does improve on some stuff. Yep. So yeah, that's particularly it for this particular review. I have no other videos planned for today. So tomorrow, I have one video planned for tomorrow. I was hoping to do like another video for today, but I don't think I have time to do it. And that will be a review of season 8 of Case Closed. But I'll save for tomorrow when I finish the season up, okay? But do this next view. Bye.